with the couple folks from the Nolus protocol that seems to be a little bit, not a little bit, that seems to be gaining some of the popularity in Cosmos recently, mainly for the reason because while we are in maybe dark times, the tokens go down and people look for more safe options. People escape into stable coins and people looking for the good stable coin yield, maybe even the yield that outperforms the uh, rates of treasuries in the real US dollars. And Nolus delivers that. I started using Nolus. I'm not sure if you guys aware. I've been moving to stable coins and I use Nolus, and now I'm having the real yield on the USDC that is 6.5%, and I'm getting additional incentive of 15% in Nolus token, which is total 20%. And I don't think anywhere in Cosmos is that good. So I'm here with Meta and Kamen. You guys both work for Nolus. Is that Russian accent correctly? What I heard before?
Bulgarian, Eastern Europe,
Oh,
Bulgarian, both
you
of us.
Bulgarian, and
Yeah,
Yes.
Meta, you too.
yeah.
Yes.
Most of the
Oh,
team is actually located around.
that's uh, uh, that's a fail from me. Someone told me you guys are Russian, so I assume that you were right. Do you have some
No,
Russians on the team or no?
actually, we don't. We haven't had any. But keep in mind that Bulgarian and Russian language are not that far away in terms of speaking.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe this is
It's
where the confusion
Cyrillic
came from.
alphabet. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
so people spreading the
exactly.
fake news, and so I think that's the correction. And most of your team is from Bulgaria, yeah?
Most, yes. We have a lot of developers that are global, worldwide, but otherwise, the core team that has created the protocol and came up with the
Mhm.
idea are located here, yes.
Can you guys tell me? Are you guys the founders, maybe? Or no?
We are one of the I'm one of the co-founders. Metu is one of the first team members ever to join the company.
Mhm.
So he's our DeFi strategist, while I'm one of the two co-founders that actually came up with the idea already 2 years ago. One while we started as an idea generation first. So yeah, a
Yeah.
total of
Oh,
approximately 20 people we are
oh, you are
currently.
20 people. That's huge team.
Yeah, mostly developers, because we were launching an app chain, layer one protocol. This took a lot of efforts in terms of development. Even with the Cosmos SDK, there are a lot of custom things that we've done to
Mhm.
the blockchain, to the app, to the web app. So yeah,
Yeah.
the team is so big because of the developers mainly.
Yeah, and you raised some money, $2.5 million, right?
Correct.
Um, I always try to check if the team raised some money, uh, because I do believe it's important to have the runway in the in cash instead of liquidating just the tokens. I understand sometimes it might happen, um, but I would like to know how what's your runway like. Or maybe you also plan to raise some money in the future. Maybe you plan another round. So I would like to learn about the funding that you have.
We actually, you mentioned correctly that we've raised 2.5 million. Total fully diluted valuation was 20 million.
Hmm.
So in that round, we got some very strategic partners like Cogston Ventures, Token Metrics, Dora Hacks,
Hmm.
GT Capital, Everstake. Some of our validators are also in the round. So we managed to have and raise those money exactly for being and having a runway which spans for approximately 2 years. So we are covered in terms of what we want to build technologically. In terms of a new round, we are also planning to do a new one that would be entirely focusing on listings and liquidity on DEXs and SEXs. But in terms of development, and because Nolus is a protocol that starts on Cosmos with Cosmos SDK, but we want to be on every single chain for every transaction in a non-custodial way. So basically a cross-chain platform money market.
Does it mean that I will see Ethereum USDC on Nolus one day?
Well,
Or
hopefully. That's the
okay,
idea.
that's I'll. Does it mean that's something similar that Sommelier is doing? Because Sommelier is application on Ethereum. So I wonder, like, if you would deploy that on Ethereum, right? Would it be application deployed on Ethereum, or like you do it in some different way?
So maybe I could
Metal
take this.
can can go, yeah,
Yeah.
like.
So the way we're currently doing things in our model is more or less it's based. So Nolus stores liquidity only on stable coins, and we utilize other chains and dexes
Mhm,
using IBC and interchain accounts for now. And that's for specifically for the Cosmos ecosystem. And for the future, when we want to expand to EVM chains as well, we would also like to utilize a similar way of cross-chain communication, meaning that we don't have to redeploy our entire code base on all of those chains out there and rewrite our contracts in, let's say, Solidity. But we want to simply tap into the liquidity hubs there on those
mhm.
chains, but do it entirely in a cross-chain fashion and not in a multi-chain like deployment fashion, so to speak.
Yeah, I got it. Um, w- w- I wanted to know because like that's the main thing, or maybe later. Let's focus on like how the Nolus works, because I got some of the questions about that, and stop me if I'm wrong. Is it um it works in similar fashion as you would trade perpetuals on the exchange, where you use the assets that you have as the collateral to buy maybe 3 times more of the tokens. Does it work similar on Nolus? Because I know you can borrow more. So it's like, is it up to 3 times more you can borrow using collateral? If I deposit 10,000 USDC, how much, let's say, osmosis I can borrow against that?
You can borrow up to 150%, so 15,000 in this
15,000.
particular example.
So, but you secure yourself in the way when the price go down, you liquidate that Osmo to repay the loan. Is that correct?
This is correct. And what you have given as an example of perpetuals, yes, it's something similar, but it has some differences that are quite important, because on
Mhm,
Nolus, for example, you can provide any asset and take any other asset, meaning your collateral is not only the asset that you've given and the currency that you've given, but you can give a collateral in any asset and
mhm,
take another asset. Then you provide a down payment, so you basically can have more exposure for the same collateral. But because both the down payment and the loan actually purchase the digital asset, the Osmo that you
mhm,
described in the example, it actually has 40% lower liquidation risk compared to perpetuals. And
mhm,
it's only a partial liquidation, it's not full liquidation. So once a healthy level is reached, you need to get some partial liquidation, which would give you another, let's say, 5 or 10% drop of the price, so that you'd get another partial liquidation. So it gives you more exposure, less risk, and actually it gives you the availability to do something with the amplified position during your DeFi lease. So with margins, you just speculate on the price. You don't own the asset. You have
mhm.
P&L loss or gain. With Nolus, you actually can go and, for example, take a stake derivative, which earns you 20% APY per year. Soon you would be able to do other yield optimization strategies on your asset. So, for example, votes, for example, something that actually earns you on your amplified position.
Yeah, um, I'm trying to figure out the roots that you are talking about, because so with derivative, I feel it's still risk, right? Because Atom is very volatile asset. And for example, now, like, people assume maybe it's going down because sentiment is bad, but I just noticed that I can borrow wrapped BTC. So to give the scenario, what I can do, deposit 10,000 USDC, for example, and get 15,000 worth of wrapped BTC, correct?
You can actually get as a loan another 15,000 in stables, and now you can get 25,000 in a wrapped BTC. So your down payment together with the loan would be purchasing the desired asset, which is wrapped BTC in this
But
scenario.
once I borrow once USDC, I cannot borrow USDC again, correct? Because you just
For this particular asset, you can borrow once. So you have 10,000 in stables, you can borrow another 15,000. Now you have 25,000. You go and purchase wrapped BTC, one BTC, for example. Let's say the price is 25,000. You purchase one BTC wrapped BTC, and this is into your wallet. Now, this is where you have purchased the asset on the DEX. In this example, Osmosis, where we started as a first integrated DEX of choice. And you have the asset in your wallet, and you cannot extract it and sell it until full repayment is made for your 15,000. But you would be able soon to do some yield optimization strategies on it. For example, for Ethereum, you would be able to liquid stake the Ethereum, and so on and so forth in different votes and stuff. But you get lower liquidation rate during the asset. So if you have taken the same example with the margins, you'll get probably liquidated after 20-25% drop of the price. While for the same example, you'll get liquidated after partial liquidation on Nolus after approximately 45 to 50% drop of the price. So you get less risk, more security for your asset.
Yeah, and that answered the Rarma question, because I cannot actually take it away from Nolus, correct?
Correct. So
okay,
you
because
can use it in yield optimization strategies that are whitelisted on the protocol, but you cannot get it out of the protocol. You use it somewhere else, and because the protocol needs to have those funds for any liquidation to happen, if that's to
yeah,
happen.
of course. Because I was already thinking, right? If as you said, imagine the root. I'm depositing 10,000. I'm getting 15,000 USDC. I'm getting then 25,000 of the wrapped BTC roughly. And then I was thinking I can go to lending borrowing platform like Umi and borrow against my Bitcoins, then borrow like ST Atom and yield, right? But we know now like it's impossible. But then the follow question would be, do you plan to do that strategies on Nolus maybe then?
Maybe I can also take this and also dive a bit deeper into what's happening when, like, each lease position is a separate smart contract instance, and whenever a user, as Kamen mentioned, makes their initial deposit and they obtain the loan, those two get parked into that smart contract instance, and in the background, through IBC, they travel over to Osmosis, and through interchain accounts, they get swapped to the desired asset, which is BTC. And here comes the other detail, which is the whitelisted yield optimization strategies on Nolus, which is something that governance is only able to allow. And the idea is because those assets, those lease positions, they contain real assets in them, right? They're not just any like derivatives that don't have any liquidity anywhere, but these could essentially be used in various yield optimization strategies depending on what's safe for the protocol. So if the governance decides that a certain strategy is safe enough for the protocol, they can approve it, and this could be utilized. Of course, like strategies that involve locking up tokens in a lease position for like 14, 21 days, for example, aren't exactly safe for the protocol, because if in the fortunate event that the liquidation can arrive, the protocol needs to be able to have access to those assets to liquidate and do not incur any bad debt. in the system.
But you said something before that, because you said something before in terms of perpetual, so I don't really own the asset. But in this case, it seems also I don't own the asset, correct?
Well, you have the asset, and upon full repayment, you can actually do so the purchase is there. The asset has been purchased for you on Osmosis and walked into the smart contract. Now, all you need to do is actually unlock that asset through repayment or through price appreciation. If the price appreciates of the asset, you can unlock it through the appreciation or repay it with another set of USDC. Once you do that, the asset is there into your wallet, and you can swap it, stake it, move it to another network, whatever you decide to do with it.
Okay. I got it. And so it's like, to keep it simple, let's say I just did the loan, like deposited 10,000, got 15,000 worth of Bitcoin. The Bitcoin doubles to 30,000. I can repay it with 10,000 worth of Bitcoin and take remaining 20,000, right?
Correct.
Okay, so but also you said like I can do like repayment schedule. Can I schedule the repayment? So imagine I'm taking the loan, and can I schedule it to 500 USDC to be repaid monthly, maybe via Nolus?
You can, but you need to do that manually. So basically, on
Okay.
monthly basis, you can come and repay 500 of the asset. Now, the beauty of the model is that you have a fixed, never-changing interest rate. Let's say that it's 13% for annual percentage rate for your loan. Now, the amount that would be taken from you from your DeFi lease would be 13% yearly, and that's it. If you come and repay tomorrow, the interest would be 1 day for the 3065 for 1 year period of time times 13%. So basically, you pay only the interest up until the moment of repayment. If you start repaying every month, you get a decreasing annualized loan that actually has lower and lower interest through time.
Um, I think it's quite high interest rate, which is quite common in DeFi, right? Do you think in the future those interest rates are actually going to go down as we move forward?
You mean for the borrower or for the depositors? For the
For the
liquidity
borrower,
providers.
for the borrower.
Okay, so it's a mix. I believe that it would be rather decreasing rather than increasing based on what we've observed. But keep in mind that our model works like that. You have liquidity providers that would provide liquidity into the protocol. Now, those need to be rewarded, and they are rewarded entirely from the cash repayments of the interest from the borrowers. Now, if the borrower currently repays 14% and we have a utilization of 50%, for example, they would be getting somewhere around 7%, which is the current approximate state. So, real cash repayments make made by the borrowers repay the lenders, and the idea is to keep the efficiency or liquidity within the protocol very close to each other, so lenders are not like 20 times more than borrowers. Rather, the utilization would be between 50 to 70-75% at all times. So new deposits would be stopped when those rates are broken, so that we ensure that actual lenders receive high yields for their USDCs.
What I wonder, because there is also the liquidations, okay? Did we already experience some of the liquidations, the partial liquidations?
We have not yet.
We have not.
In
Okay.
new environment, in dev and testnet environment, we have done millions of those. Keep in mind that it's very simple for us to do it because we're connected to a DEX, only one at the time, but we would be connected to many DEXs eventually. And the idea is that once a liquidation needs to be ordered, it happens instantaneously, very simply, very easily, and transactions happen on time. And that's the idea of how we built the model. We have been audited, especially for the liquidation mechanism, also by Oak Security and Halborn, which was great to understand that we have done it properly and correctly.
The reason why I ask this, because I was thinking as the liquidation happens, if there is the possibility for some fee for Nolus. So as the liquidations happen, is there any profit you generate from those liquidations, some small fee maybe, or it's fully just moving to repayment of the loan?
It depends. If you are repaying in USD, we don't. The Nolus protocol doesn't take any fee. Now, however, if you are repaying in USDCs, there is no swap fee. But if you repay, for example, in atoms, there would be a 0.2% swap fee on osmosis, which would be taken on osmosis for your swapping to USDCs. But otherwise, the Nolus protocol does not have anything on top of that.
Yeah, I was asking because I know not sure if you are familiar with Kujira blockchain, for example. So they have these liquidation beads, and their yield comes from a lot of liquidations, right? So there is different strategies. So I was maybe thinking if you also can generate from the liquidations to occur, right?
Yes, it's a possible. Keep in mind, we currently have three revenue streams that generate some yield for lenders and for the for lenders, but not in USDCs, but rather in the NOS, the part that you mentioned that it's 15% APY per year. Now, the stable coin interest comes only from the repayments of borrowers, while the NOS, first of all, we have a pool of 12% of total token supply that's distributed as rewards, but also we have some additional revenue streams within the protocol that, for example, every transaction has a small fee. Transaction doesn't mean the DeFi list, but every swapping or buying or selling, everything that you'll be doing on the network, there would be a very small fee. This fee, for example, would be immediately buying back our tokens from the open market and refilling the incentive pool of the lenders so that they get incentivized more in NOS tokens in the future.
How again it works? The fee?
It's an automatic buyback. So the smart contract actually goes and purchases NOS on the open market and refills
And the
that
fee
lender's
comes from,
incentive.
sorry, again?
The fee comes from every transaction. So for example, if you have 0.1 10 cents per transaction for transaction fee on the blockchain, you also get a 0.04 cents on top of that as a fee to go to the lender's pool. So a little bit more than a usual transaction on that would happen on the blockchain.
And this is just a regular transaction on Nolus?
Yeah.
Yes, for every.
Yeah, so it's just a regular transaction. So we have something like called a tax module, which basically, whenever you pay a transaction fee, as you would on any other chain, it just applies an additional fee on top.
Now I'm asking because that is really smart. That's like I'm asking a lot of questions because I must tell you guys, like this is one of not many projects that really I feel like doing something quite interesting for the users and for the DeFi here. And you mentioned the token, which I had the concerns, not for me, more for like protocol like yours, because you incentivize my yield with 15%. So I'm yielding 21% now on my stablecoin. It's crazy. I love it. But I was thinking it's gonna go down because you cannot do it forever. So if you could talk a little bit about the token, what is even what I wanted to like why even have the token, okay, at the first place? And can you keep incentivizing that pool, and what is the utility of the token?
Okay,
that's a lot. We can start with
a little bit let me try to structure it in a simple way. So first of all, the token is essential. It needs to have a token because it's a layer 1 up chain. So basically, the NOS is the only way currently in order to do a transaction. You need to have NOS in your wallet so that you do transaction fees with that. Now, the utility of the NOS is, first of all, to be used as gas. But second of all, it would allow many of the participants on the network to do different stuff. For example, lenders would be receiving higher yields based on their staked NOS. Borrowers would be receiving better terms or higher leverage based on their staked NOS. This is currently in development, and we expect to have it until, let's say, Q4 or Q1 next year. So this would actually be you would be able to, with your staked NOS, to do a lot of different stuff compared to not staking your NOS. So it's a tiered staking system. Now, because you've mentioned where the yield is coming from for whether we can sustain it, no, the idea is not to sustain it. The idea is to refill it. This is why we have 3 revenue streams that are buying back our token, refilling that incentive pool. So that in the long term, once the 12%, because 12% is fixed of the total token supply, the more people get into the project, the more they get their USDCs, the more rewards they would be getting. Now, once the volume increases with the 3 revenue streams, you would be able to buy back your token, refill that incentive pool, and continue incentivizing lenders on the protocol in NOS. However, in long term, once we reach, let's say, 200, 300, 400 million of total value locked, the idea is that this percentage could not be and will not be 15%. It will be probably 4 to 5%, something much more sustainable based on the volumes and the buying back.
Yeah, but so also, like, do you think the buyback would be you would be able to generate so much from the fees to sustain the buyback?
Every single fee that comes to the system would be buying back the tokens. Whether we would sustain sufficiently so that we can have 10 to 15% APY in NOS, well, maybe not. Maybe 5 to 6 to 7% is something much more realistic in the long run. But the idea is that we have incentivized and we have done a mechanism to incentivize lenders at all times with that buying back, with the revenue streams.
Yeah, that sounds really good. Guys, how did you? Yeah, wanted to say something.
Just to add to that, that's why what Kaman also mentioned, we have this TVL threshold. So whenever the system reaches certain thresholds in terms of lent USDC, that NOS APR would drop. So the idea is to have like more real yield and less yield that comes from NOS tokens in the long run as adoption rises.
What is the TVL as of now?
We have actually started like probably 5 weeks ago with the money market. We've launched end of May, but we've started the money market like 5 weeks ago. We started with the main tokens, meaning staked Osmo, staked Atom, Osmo, wrapped BTC, wrapped Ethereum. We've just started Akash, Axel, and Juno in the past 10 days, 20 days. So current total value locked is approximately 650,000 in terms of what the system holds in different positions. So deposits, DeFi leases.
Total with all the, so if I'm my deposited USDC is included to that pool.
Yes. So total value locked is deposited liquidity less the loans taken. So basically the net amount of loans provided from the system towards the borrowers.
A few things about the liquidations. If we get the flash crash, right? So if someone deposited 10,000 worth of Osmo, borrowed some other, and we get the flash crash of like 50%, or it would be less, it would be 35 probably to go bill. It means all of getting liquidated for security. Just so let's say I deposited maybe that, does it make sense? Let's say I deposited 10,000 worth of Osmo, I borrowed 15,000. Can I borrow 15,000? Yeah.
Yes.
It's not enough collateral actually to cover in case of complete flash crash. So they could be liquidity crunch, no?
There could be, based on your example currently. So because, let's say that
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, because is it possible to borrow USDC against Osmo? Because like, it maybe shouldn't be allowed.
Well, every pool that has sufficient liquidity on a DEX should be allowed, because it pretty much, as long as it has liquidity and it sustains that liquidity, liquidations could happen. Now, in a case where flash crash happens in seconds for 50% down pressure of the price, which is absolutely, let's say it like that, impossible for Atom, impossible for larger tokens like BTC and Ethereum. But for this is why we start with tokens that have sufficient liquidity. Otherwise, outs that have very little liquidity could reach 60-70% flash crash in seconds, and
Yeah.
this is unsustainable by the protocol. But if something like that starts to happen, the smart contracts, the smart contract of Nolus has its liquidity on osmosis. So basically, it starts liquidating immediately once such decrease starts moving downwards the spiral. And even in the case of a missed liquidation, there would be very soon a pool that would be, while liquidating some assets, it would be creating some kind of a, let's say, supply pool where additional liquidations covered would be put into that pool and cover any future missed liquidations, if that's an option, if that ever happens. So imagine it like a safety box.
Yeah. I want to. I want to have the question. Like, what worst thing could happen? So I'm thinking exploit of osmosis, right? Like what are like the worst things that could actually happen? Because at the end of the day, it's risky. So I wonder, like, do you have the scenarios that? And the worst part, because if the osmosis exploit happen, that's not on you, but you are very directly affected with that.
Currently, yes. If such an event happens, and let's say that you're unable to swap tokens on Osmosis, this could go wrong in many ways, because liquidations could not happen on our protocol if they need to happen, for example. Or you wouldn't be able to swap tokens, because soon you would be able to swap tokens directly on our protocol rather than go to any other protocol or Osmosis. And currently, because we have one DEX, this is a risk, and this risk is covered by us trying to integrate with as many DEXs as possible. We have one more coming very soon, which we would be announcing. We have a couple of more in the pipeline, so that we have many DEXs integrated with, so that if any exploit happens to a third-party provider DEX, we would be able to continue provisioning on the other DEXs.
And does that include that maybe this year or sometime soon we will get also DEX from outside of the Cosmos ecosystem? For example, for the USDC, which are actually bridged, those are Ethereum USDC, right? So I wonder if you could use the liquidity from from the DEXs on Ethereum just in case. Is it possible?
It would be very soon. And this is where I've mentioned a little bit earlier that we are aiming to be cross-chain. And this is where we become cross-chain. Here we have, we would be using part of the technology created by Axel, so that those tokens could be bridged, and actual liquidity from Ethereum could flow onto Nolus without the users on Ethereum actually understanding that they are switching the network. So basically connecting, for example, your Metamask on Nolus and doing your transactions with your Metamask on our DeFi lease on the Cosmos SDK.
That's actually really amazing, because you could get the MetaMask users. So I can recommend to people on MetaMask. But I wonder, like, so there is few issues. First of all, is Axel really that secure? Like, because they use the multi-sig, right? Is that the most secure bridge we have here? Or the, like, if we would have the version of IBC, that would be more secure, right? I want to know if we can really fully trust Axel, our bridge.
So yeah, maybe I can also jump in here. So Axelar is currently like the preferred cross-chain communication standard for the Cosmos ecosystem with EVM, the EVM side, right? So Osmosis, like it's most of it, like all those rapid Ethereum, it comes from Axelar, right? So of course IBC is the best standard in our opinion for cross-chain communication, and of course the idea is that if such a standard also exists like for EVM communication, that's something that we would be interested in integrating with. We are currently actually actively exploring the best possible solution for this cross-chain communication and how it exactly would happen. And Axelar is like a really nice option with their general message passing solution, and also their Squid that are building on top of that for the cross-chain swaps. So we are actively exploring how exactly we should proceed with by taking all also risks and basically assessing the model as closely as possible, so that we are. But for the time being, Axelar is one of the primary options to kind of have this cross-chain communication outside of Cosmos.
Yeah, and also because you said MetaMask and the person will not know they're using different protocol, but does it mean if I have USDC on MetaMask and if I want to use them on Nolus, I'm bridging my asset, correct?
So
or it's staying on Ethereum?
So the ultimate idea at the end of the day is to have those assets stay on the chain that they're on, and to control everything with general message passing. So you will only kind of send out commands to the host chain that is Nolus, and from there on the protocol does its thing. And that's like I think the best case scenario that a cross-chain protocol would have, and we'll be working actively towards such a design.
Yeah, of course, because if not, I assume there would be this $60 transaction to pop out to bridge the USDC to Nolus, right?
Yeah,
and
so
that would be not that attractive anymore.
In general, yeah, the idea is that also Ethereum tries to like scale with those also those layer 2 solutions, so the layer 2 chains. So these essentially we might not need to use the base layer on Ethereum to kind of tap into the liquidity there. Of course, currently in a bear market, there are like liquidity problems, but in a bull case, we all know what that the Ethereum base layer has faces quite some difficulties with those high transaction costs and the low capacity. Yeah. So we imagine that liquidity will be also there on other EVM chains that are better, more scalable, and offer like more convenient for the everyday user, and just for
so if I will be using MetaMask, I will not know I interact with Nolus, correct? I can.
That's the idea. That's the otherwise.
That's beautiful. Really impressive. I heard the good stuff of you guys. I heard that you actually discovered some of the bug within Neutron, correct? Was it Neutron?
Yeah, so it's so we are for the interchain accounts communication with because we are our chain basically is a Cosmos SDK based chain, and our contracts are written in Rust. Our contracts need to be able to open those interchain accounts on Osmosis. So we rely on something called wasm bindings, which Neutron, the also team by Neutron prepares. So we're working actively with them. So having that software also on our chain as well, we are able to. We are basically I think we're the first real use case for real-time cross-chain communication with ICA. So we are able to directly spot some whether it be inefficiencies in the design, and we, we are in tight communication with those with the folks from Neutron. So it's like a mutual collaboration type of thing in that front, and that's the beauty actually of having two teams, like multiple teams that are relying on a software, combine forces and make this thing as best as possible.
Yeah. I keep thinking about liquidity, and I've been thinking if you will allow a lot of assets for the lease, because for me it's good to have like um I mean as the collateral, so wrapped BTC, Ethereum, the best assets, and stable coins potentially. um do you think it will be like not to that will not affect user experience and also security as you expand into like hundreds of assets?
I don't think that we would be able to expand to hundreds of assets. What we
Mhm.
want to cover on the platform is you can do a swap on any asset for any asset. You can buy, you can
Mhm.
sell. That could be done on millions of assets even. As long as there is liquidity, it's on the spot transaction. Now for the
Mhm.
DeFi lease, there should be sufficient liquidity. I'm saying that for the second time, so that you are able, first of all, to explore the depth of the pools, so that you know that once you need to do a liquidation, you would not miss it. So I
Mhm.
think here that the DeFi lease will definitely go for all the major tokens on Cosmos. It would also, once we go outside of Cosmos, it would cover the main tokens that are listed with sufficient liquidity pools on different sexes and dexes, so that transactions and liquidations and everything in the middle could happen on time without like
Mhm.
interruptions or without the liquidity friends, without the
Mhm.
availability to drain the liquidity of a pool, and this would dry out the DeFi lease. So there should be
Mhm.
multiple pools with sufficient liquidity, and if those pools with sufficient liquidity and debt decreases in times, it would actually be excluded from our DeFi lease.
Mhm. Guys, you mentioned you keep the pool of the Nolus reserved for the special purpose like sex listings, right? Could you maybe tell to the audience why this is important?
Well, there is a small percentage pool that's actually covered for liquidity and sex and dex listing. It's 5% of the total token supply, if that's what you
Mhm.
mean. This is essential because the NOS would play a vital role within the ecosystem. It's not a token that just listed uh, next to a project. It is a
Mhm.
token that actually has everything you need to do in the future on the platform.
Mhm.
It would allow you to do millions of things. It would allow you to do different things than the other people. It would also allow you, for example, to use it um, as fees, as access, as different down payments, different interest.
Mhm.
So you need to build liquidity for that. You need to build sufficient liquidity. So once the volume increases and total value locked increases, people are able to buy the NOS token
Yeah.
and use it, stake it on the network so that they get the next tier services that they would be getting.
Yeah. Do you talk to some centralized exchanges already about the listing of your token?
We have discussed so far, you know, that we have a pool on Osmosis, which was done immediately after launch. I
Mhm.
believe that for now it has quite a high liquidity. We're actually among the
Mhm.
20th pools on Osmosis in terms of liquidity, so it's not a small one, but it's not
Mhm.
such a big one. So we do have plans to include other sexes and dexes in time, but this
Mhm.
time wouldn't be immediate. So we would wait
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
for the best time to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, how it works when you do the sex is it's the loan for them, right? You give them tokens and they do market making, or you have to also hire market maker. Do you know how
Usually,
this process
usually,
works?
usually it's different. Usually it's separate. So basically, exchanges they provide you the availability to do a listing. So
Mhm.
let's say NOS to stable, whatever that stable is. So
Yeah.
they create the pool, they create the marketing within their platform, so their users can see you as a project. But then market making is usually done by a third party that you hire. So we would need to
Mhm.
hire a separate market maker. We have a couple in our advisory body that would be assisting us eventually. So yeah, it's project by project, but the project usually hires the market maker to complete the
Yeah,
transaction.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Does the sex usually require you to hire market maker?
Most of them, and depends on how much you have in terms of different other sexes, because there are
Hmm.
other solutions which are automatic, like August, that actually do the market making instead of a firm that you hire.
Hmm.
It's an algorithm, you can do that as well. But yes, they expect you to have some kind of a market making done on their sex.
Yeah. I wonder if it's like because I always feel the coins that have the liquidity on centralized exchanges, right? And that is Atom, that is Osmo. I think Akash is
Mhm.
there. Obviously, wrapped Ethereum, wrapped Bitcoin is there. Not sure about Axel, but is it not risky to include the assets that don't have liquidity on centralized exchanges? Because they can be they could get drained, right? Easier.
Well, easier depends on where they are listed and how much liquidity is there. So
Mm-hmm.
it could be they could be drained from a DEX as easy as from a SEX, depending
Mm-hmm.
on the liquidity in the pool. So yeah, you need to take care of everything before you list an asset. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't discriminate between sexes and DEXs. As long as there is liquidity, there is liquidity. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I was very much on the Prod X before, but I changed over time because I've seen that, But I want to like now maybe at the end a little bit about your background. You've been working on this for 2 years. What is your background, guys? You were always in crypto, or you come from, or this is the first venture that you taken in crypto?
We are actually more coming from traditional. Meto is very young, so he's into crypto from university. Me, who is a little bit older in time, I have a very deep financial background in financial and non-financial institutions. So basically, coming from big four accounting, finance departments of different companies, and I have been, let's say it like that, I have been using different products in lending for many years and have been advising on them. So once we reached the point where we saw an availability to actually create a better financing product on the blockchain, it actually made a
Mhm.
lot of sense, because now everyone knows what a DeFi lease is, how to take a DeFi lease how to take a lease for to purchase a vehicle or mortgage, whatever. Now, transferring that to the crypto world, you actually have absolutely the same. You have more coverage, you have lower risk by providing a down payment and then taking a loan, compared to providing a down payment and having only 50-60% out of it provided to you in cash, as other crypto
Mhm.
lenders are doing. We do have our other co-founder. He's very much into the technology itself. He was the one that convinced us to be on Cosmos SDK. And we have a great CTO that actually has almost 10 years of experience into crypto, which is almost entirely the history of crypto, I guess.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So he made it. He
He
made the
made it.
beat.
He made it, and he made it. Actually, I was very surprised how little things, audits like Oak Security and Halborn actually found out into our code. So it's very neat code. It's extremely clean in terms of what we've built, which is good, because now once you have the layer zero of the code base, you can do a lot of with it. You can add a lot in terms of services.
Yeah. So you were working in finance, but you were maybe working on the tech side. Were you developer or you were
Mostly on the finance. The other co-founder, Ivan, actually
right?
he worked more on the tech side rather than that, which is good because we cover each other in different fields of expertise.
Yeah. So what were you doing in finance? I'm curious.
I have been doing, for example, I have been in big four companies doing management advisory, accounting advisory. I have been doing audits. Then I have been doing some CFO and finance director roles in terms of, well, everything that's connected to finance, budgeting,
Mhm.
accrues, product development, product push, geographical push.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is is there any application that you took the inspiration from? Was
Yes,
there
I
some
think
product like this on Ethereum
I no, on Ethereum. No, there is one.
or anywhere?
I mentioned that a couple of minutes ago. The lease, the lease came as an idea from the real world, because taking a vehicle on a lease actually provides a down payment, and you get a loan in order to purchase the asset immediately and start owning it. Now the same is
Mhm.
transferred here on the DeFi list, because you provide a down payment, you get a loan, you purchase the asset immediately, you start yield optimizing on whitelisted schemes, and then at the end of the contract you actually
Mhm.
own the asset and you can do whatever with it. So pretty
Mhm.
much the same, transferred from the web 2 to the web 3, let's say
Um,
it like that.
yeah, I really like because I tell you, I was not exactly bullish on fully collateralized, or if it's not even fully collateralized, over collateralized crypto lending because it doesn't have purpose for me that much. It's might be in like there's not that much of the benefit of it. So you are the first under collateralized, but it seems because still the money I borrow, right, it's locked for security reasons, but it's impossible to merge it with other asset. Like I know it's far reaching, we are early on the adoption curve and stuff, but like I cannot buy the house doing that, and I think it would be very impossible. Like, so what you see the future application of that could be, it will be mainly for the speculation purposes on other assets or commodities that exist on the blockchain. Well, the house could be commodity maybe one day, like somebody, but or it will have the real world application as well.
Well, I think that we are going to a digitalized world. I think that eventually different tokens that have been purchased could be used in the real world gradually, one by one. So agree that we are at the very beginning of that curve and we are yet to see that implementation. But we're seeing more and more in the past 2 or 3 years. We would be seeing much more in the next decade. So
Mhm.
nobody believed 10 years ago that there would be such a, let's say, crypto world of millions of tokens that actually perform different stuff on the blockchain. Now
Mhm.
nobody actually believes that this would be, or let's say rarely people outside of the crypto now believe that it would be used as everyday cash, but it will
Mhm.
be, or essential tokens and essential cryptos would be used for that. And this is where the nodes could reach out, because now you
Mhm.
take a loan, you can purchase asset, then you can use it into the real world. We can integrate with different companies that are doing that. You've seen what PayPal has done currently with their stable. So there would be much more such news in the decade to come, and
Mhm.
we would be there to try to incorporate with all of those.
Yeah. Which city you guys based?
Sofia,
Uh
Bulgaria. So
oh,
Sofia,
Sofia.
the capital.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I heard Bulgaria has quite low taxes, no?
They do.
Yeah, yeah.
It
I
is
heard.
one of the lowest in the European Union, yes. This is
Yeah,
how we've done it 20 years ago so that we can attract foreign investors. And it has worked pretty well. We're one of the best outsourcing countries in the world. So, for example, HSBC, Coca-Cola, all of those outsourcing companies, they all came with large offices here in Bulgaria because we do have a lot of ITs, low cheap labor, and now a very good tax system which covers only 10% of the
yeah.
corporate income tax.
When did they implemented the tax system?
It was like probably 20 years ago already.
So
Once we became a democracy.
right, yeah. Because I know everyone like gives the shout out to Bulgaria. Do you think that will like because I think the economy grows quite fast there, right? Uh, in
Compared to other European countries, it is, yes. It
uh,
has it has grown for the past 10 years a lot.
oh yeah, yeah. Like I can see that it's growing a lot. It outperformed in Serbia quite a lot. They were at the same level in 2008. It seems, yeah. Is the I like to check that stuff. So,
Yeah.
so do you think, because I know the demography of Bulgaria got quite shattered, do you think that those changes now will reverse the trend at some point? So sorry for like non-crypto
No,
talk.
no. No, that's also a chance. Well, it will eventually once the COVID situation actually get everything mixed up for a little bit. I
Yeah.
think this would actually turn around, and it started turning around already.
Hmm. Yeah, like yeah, I'm interested about the stuff because like I'm originally from Poland,
Mhm.
and they there was quite a issue because in early 2000s a lot of Polish people were leaving, but it started reversing in last years, and actually there is even the immigration started happening, so the population got like stabilized. So like that's why I'm asking. Um
We have observed something similar,
yeah,
probably the same years, 2005 to 2015,
yeah.
where a lot of people, a lot of young people actually went outside of Bulgaria, started studying there, and
Mhm.
didn't actually return. I think that started changing somewhere around 2010, where, as I mentioned, we became like a IT hub to Europe. We became
Uh-huh.
an outsourcing hub to Europe. So there has been a lot of foreign investors joining into the ecosystem, to the economy. There has been a lot of new job openings, and people actually able to really excel into a multinational company within Bulgaria. So
Hmm.
people started not coming back, but at least staying or not moving away so much. And
Yeah.
now, currently, I believe that we have some kind of a parity. Some of the people go outside, some stay, some return. So it has been reversing a lot.
Yeah, so that's good. I heard quite a lot of good things. Sadly, I never visited, but
You should. It's beautiful. It's very small, but we have mountains. You can do skiing. We
yeah,
have a sea. You can do beaches. We,
yeah. I
we,
I
we
know
have
it's
mountains,
actually
and
you
you
have
can do
beautiful
just skiing.
coast. A
Yeah, we
lot
do.
a lot of people go for the coast, right? Is the
Yeah,
Black Sea, correct? Yeah.
the Black Sea, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Metal. What did you study?
No, I studied that. I graduated from the Technical University in Munich. I studied information systems there, so it was like a mix between computer science and economy. So economic studies. So and afterwards, after I graduated, I immediately joined the Nolus team
So
last year, beginning of last year.
you studied in Munich.
Yep,
Oh, nice. And
I lived there 6 years.
I imagine you got some good job offers there, no?
Yeah, so if I wanted to stay there, unfortunately, it would have to be the developer in the Web 2 world, more or less. There, of course, there are also some Web 3 companies, but I really like around I would say March, April 2021. I really got into DeFi and started
Yeah.
researching a lot of these protocols on various ecosystems, and also really got. Yeah, I really got into that specific part, and I really liked it. So wanted to do something
Yeah.
similar. And
And
when
and I
when
guess
Nolus came up,
you missed your home a little bit, yeah, because you came back.
yeah, that's also another reason. Like
Yeah.
most of my friends, actually from the year I graduated, they came back. So I have most of my friends and family here. And
Yeah, I think those countries are actually because for doing DeFi, Germany is absolutely nightmare. I heard like very high tax
yeah, it's for like 40,
regulations.
45% or something like
Yeah,
that.
I
So
had
that's
friend, the German friend, he actually moved to Cyprus. Like he hated that. So I think a lot of these smaller countries in Europe are benefiting a lot. I think beyond Bulgaria, but doesn't have that the tech much. I think Montenegro is very promising, like very low tax as well, right? It kind of function, but it doesn't have the tech. I think it mainly has the tourism, tourism more. Um, Guys, the one question is there is the limit on Nolus, like for the earning deposit is 20,000 USDC.
You mean in terms of how much you could be a liquidity provider?
How much I can deposit? Yeah.
No, there is no limit of how much you can deposit currently, but if the deposit go outside of a range of efficiency or utilization more, new deposits would be stopped. But there is no 20,000 of
Because
maybe
someone
you're connecting and talking about the DeFi lease, which actually has an upper limit.
no, someone was telling I cannot deposit more than 20,000 on one wallet. But if that's not true, that's the
Yeah, you
okay.
should be
that's
available
probably
to do that.
Yeah.
the down payment.
Amazing product. Which guys are your favorite crypto projects outside of Nolus?
Well, there are too many, to be honest.
Uh-huh.
I really like projects that are solving the cross-chain functions.
Uh-huh.
So this is, in my opinion, this would be the future. The future would be anyone doing any transaction on any blockchain without understanding that they're doing different stuff on different blockchains. And wallets that are doing that, or transactions, technologies that are availing that technology to move fast.
Yeah. Someone shouting Torchain. Meta, what do you like? What's your favorite?
I like first of all, in terms of DeFi projects, I like projects that actually have multiple value accrual mechanisms to their native token, so that it makes sense, and basically have this positives, like some ecosystem around them. But in general, I like good technology and highly scalable technology. So
Yeah.
there's out ones that are good for me, such as Avalanche, for example. I'm a big fan, even though they're doing quite bad in terms of liquidity at the moment. But
Yeah.
in terms of tech, it's really impressive there, and Cosmos as well. So in general.
Yeah, my main issue like with with Cosmos. So I'm saying that bought Osmosis at 98. Wow, poor you. um the issue with like I don't like the thing about I don't like about with Cosmos is so many tokens. And the idea that we use 100 different tokens, keep swapping them. I'm trying to think more of the retail user. Like it's not good, right? Like I want to use maybe USDC and earn some yield, and maybe then I want to have some assets, some like Bitcoin, right? But I don't necessarily want to interact with 50 different blockchains every day, because I don't think that could get adoption. Is too much. And if we have to connect to all of these blockchains, that's quite difficult for many people, I think.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
This is where we actually have a solution as well. So basically, what we have done is the availability for you to not interact with every other chain on Cosmos. So you can do your transaction on Nolus, but you're actually doing it on Osmosis.
Mhm.
You're doing it on the Atom Hub, but doing it again from the Nolus
Mhm.
app. So basically, everything happens from the Nolus app. You can switch networks, you can transfer funds,
But
and
I
that's
cannot
the easy.
swap via Nolus yet, right?
Yet not, but very soon you would be able to do that.
That's what I really like, so I tell you what I do, but like I was thinking maybe now I should stop selling my Nolus rewards. uh, because every now and
I'm
then,
certain that you should stop.
yeah, yeah, maybe
You're
I
the
should.
one selling. You're the one seller. I
Yeah.
know.
It's not that much, but the price stay right then, or it's not.
No,
It's
it's
hovers around
quite stable.
three
It's
cents.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's slowly going down from what I see, but compared to the, you
Well,
know,
everything is going down in the past 3 or 4 weeks. So
yeah, but in 90 days there is like from 4 cents to 3 cents, but maybe. But I really like that because I was claiming, and I'm directly exporting to Osmosis. Then I'm just going to swap it on Osmosis, and then I'm going back to Nolus and doing
yeah,
everything on Nolus. So if I have swap on Nolus, selling Nolus rewards will
yeah.
be.
Not only selling, but you would be actually you would be using Osmosis as a DEX,
Mhm.
but you can never go to Osmosis.
Yeah, but I
This is
will
the
not
beauty of
know
it.
it because I will do it via
Yeah,
Nolus, right? On the,
exactly.
yeah.
And
That's
it creates a very simple solution to people in terms of interface.
Yeah, guys, it was a pleasure. I really
It
enjoy
was.
Nolus. I really use your product. So I got recommended. Not sure if you spoke. Cosmos Joe. He was telling me you
Correct.
should check
Yeah.
Nolus, and Shrewd, my friend, he's from Cosmos Spaces. Everyone was talking about Nolus. Your new project, and I think around a month ago I started using, and I just keep adding. And because I don't feel so certain, so I want to have my stable coin somewhere. So like yeah, you built really great product.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. I think we covered pretty much everything, and it was really great to meet you guys.
was a pleasure.
And if
It
there
was a
is,
pleasure indeed.
yeah, if again some new staff want to come chatting, you just hit me up, and we can do it again. Was it one of you talking to me via Twitter or not, or it was
Uh,
someone?
I that was probably me in
Yeah.
under some threats here and there. But
Oh no, I mean in the private DMs, the
oh
Bismay.
no,
No,
oh
Billy.
that,
Billy is
that's
someone
Billion.
else,
That's
right?
Billion. That's
yeah,
Billion. Yeah,
she's our marketing and community manager.
I should see that's a girl from the Bad Kid. Uh,
Correct.
yeah, I
She's
thought it's a Billy, is the Billy guy, but I was like, Billy. That's
well.
that would sound like
Keep
a
in
Western
mind,
name.
yeah, yeah. Keep in mind that our names here in Eastern Europe they're a little bit different compared to the other world.
Yeah, so
So
I was thinking
that's
like,
why
yeah.
you get, yeah.
Um,
You could have met with her on many of the events. We would all be in Istanbul very soon for the
yeah.
Cosmos
Yeah,
event.
I
So
don't
yeah,
really go that much to
yeah,
events, like because I quite don't like, I'm the retail users, and I do think those events are actually, I know some retail people go there for connecting and stuff, but I quite like experienced. I might be quite useless. I like to be in the camera. But I went once
yeah,
to Prague, but I'm actually located in Hong Kong now. So those events are very far.
yeah,
It's mainly
yeah.
happening.
That's too far. Yeah,
Yeah. Have you ever been? So,
no, not yet.
because it's like also
yeah.
big finance center, right? So
Yeah,
like,
it is.
okay, guys. Thank you again for the chat, and enjoy
Pleasure.
the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.